No one came for me. I don't remember my mother. People say she died when I was born. She gave me life, but she lost her own. I was just a baby. I never saw her face. I never heard her voice. My father loved my mother very much, but when she died, something in him broke. He could not look at me. He said I was the reason she was gone. He did not want me. He gave me to my grandfather. My grandfather was old but kind. He fed me, held me, and smiled at me. For the first time I felt safe. I didn't understand much, but I felt love. When I was 4 years old, my grandfather died. I was too small to understand death. I just knew he was gone, and I was alone again. No one came for me. No one wanted me. They took me to a place for children, a big house with many kids. Some were nice, some were not. The people there gave us food and clothes, but it was not a real home. I used to watch other kids leave with families. I waited too, but no one came for me. I tried to be good. I tried to smile, but inside I felt empty. At night I would cry quietly. I didn't want anyone to hear me. I asked the sky, "Why don't I have a family?" But the sky never answered. I grew up in that big house with many other children. We played together, went to school, and shared toys. But deep inside, I always felt different. Most of the kids still had hope. I had lost mine. I didn't know what it meant to have a mother or father. I only knew stories about them. Some days were good. We laughed, we played football, we ate ice cream on special days, but other days were hard. I saw some children cry at night. Some fought with each other, and sometimes I cried too. I didn't want anyone to see me weak, but I couldn't stop the tears. Years passed slowly. I was not a baby anymore. I became quiet. I didn't talk much. I liked sitting alone and drawing. I often drew pictures of a mother holding a baby. In my drawings, she always smiled. I wanted to believe that maybe, somewhere, my mother was watching me. One cold day, when I was 15 years old, something strange happened. A teacher came to me and said, "Someone is here to see you." I was surprised. No one ever came to see me. My hands began to shake. My heart beat fast. I walked slowly to the office, not knowing what to expect. Inside, I saw a man. He looked tired and old. His face was thin, and his eyes were full of sadness. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, "I am your father." I stood there, frozen. I had imagined this moment many times. But now that it was real, I didn't know what to feel. He said he was sorry. He said he had made a mistake. He said he missed me every day. But I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. I had waited all my life for him. And now he was here. But it felt too late. The hole in my heart was already too deep. My father sat down and looked at his hands. He could not look into my eyes for long. He said, "I was young and full of pain. I didn't know how to be a father. I was lost when your mother died. I thought it was your fault, but I was wrong." His voice was soft and slow, like he was speaking to himself. I listened, but my heart was cold. For years I wanted to hear those words. I wanted him to come and say he loved me. But now it didn't feel right. I had lived 15 years without him. I had cried alone, grown up alone, and learned how to survive without his help. He told me about his life. He said he never married again. He lived alone, worked in a small shop, and thought of me every day. I was afraid to come, he said, but I couldn't wait any longer. He reached out to hold my hand, but I pulled away. I wasn't ready. There was a long silence between us. He looked older than his age. His eyes had deep lines. His voice shook when he said, "Can we start again?" I wanted to believe him. I wanted to forgive him. But my heart said no. I had already lived through too much pain. His words could not erase the years. I told him, "I don't hate you, but I don't know you. I am not the little boy you left. That boy waited for you. He cried for you. But now I am someone else." He looked down and nodded. Maybe he understood. Maybe he didn't. But I had to speak my truth. He stood up slowly. "I'll go now," he said. "But if you ever want to talk, I'll be waiting." I watched him walk away. My chest felt heavy, but also quiet. He came too late. He brought words, but no time, and time is what I needed most. After that day, I didn't see my father again. He never came back. Maybe he was ashamed. Maybe he thought I didn't want him. Or maybe he believed he had already lost his chance. I didn't know, and I didn't try to find out. A part of me still hoped he would return, but most of me just wanted to move on. Life at the centre continued. I studied harder. I read books, helped younger kids, and tried to be strong. But even when I smiled, there was always something missing inside me. I looked at families in the park, mothers holding babies, fathers playing with their children, and every time I asked myself, why not me? When I turned 18, I had to leave the centre. It was time to live on my own. They gave me a small bag, some clothes, and a little money. I didn't have a home, but I had freedom. It was both exciting and scary. I had no one waiting for me, no place to return to. I was completely alone. I found a small room to rent. It was cold and old, but it was mine. I got a job at a bakery. The work was hard, but I didn't complain. I woke up early, cleaned floors, and baked bread. Sometimes I would see happy families come to buy cakes. I always smiled at them, even when it hurt. At night, I would sit by the window and look at the stars. I often thought of my mother. What would she say if she saw me now? Would she be proud? Would she hold me? I had no answers, only dreams. But those dreams gave me strength to wake up and try again every day. I began to write my story in a notebook. I didn't want to forget anything. The pain, the loneliness, the little moments of hope. I wrote it all down. Maybe one day someone would read it. Maybe one day my story would help another lost child feel less alone. Years passed. I worked in many places, cafes, markets, small shops. I didn't have much, but I paid my rent and bought simple food. I had no family, but I had peace. That was enough for me. One day I saw a father hug his son outside a school. The boy laughed and held his hand. I smiled, but inside it hurt. I tried not to think about my own father, but memories always found me. I sometimes asked myself, what if my mother had lived? What if my father had stayed? My whole life could have been different. but life gives us no choice. We must walk the road we are given. Still, I didn't give up. I kept moving forward. I wanted to build a good life, even if it started in sadness. I told myself, you are not your past. You can write your own future. And slowly I did. Now I am an old man. I live in a small house. It is quiet here. I drink tea in the morning and sit by the window. I often think about the past. So many memories, some painful, some sweet. I think of my mother, even though I never knew her. I hope she would be proud of me. I think of my father too. I hope he found peace. Maybe he wanted to love me, but didn't know how. Sometimes I wonder what my life could have been. What if my mother had lived? What if my father had stayed? Would I have been happy? Would I have had a family, a warm home and love? But I also know this. I survived. I worked hard. I stayed kind. I helped others when I could. I didn't let my sadness turn into hate. And that means something. That means I lived with heart. Now I tell my story to others. Maybe it can help someone feel less alone. Maybe it can teach someone to forgive. We all carry pain, but we can still choose kindness. And as I watch the sunset, I close my eyes and whisper, "Thank you, life. You were not easy, but you made me strong.